Please come to order. Good morning. Welcome to the Commissioner of St. Mary's County meeting this date, Tuesday, November 18th, 2025. I am Randy Guy, President and Commissioner of St. Mary's County. I'd like to introduce the other commissioners. Sitting to my right, residing in the 1st Commissioner District, which includes Ridge, Piney Point, St. George's Island, Mr. Eric Colvin.
Good morning.
Residing in the 2nd Commissioner District, which includes Leonardtown, Hollywood, Mike Hewitt.
Good morning.
Residing in the 3rd Commissioner District, which includes Charlotte Hall, 7th District, Golden Beach, Mechanicsville, Mr. Mike Alderson, Jr.
Morning.
Residing in the 4th Commissioner District, which includes Lexington Park, some of California, and Great Mills, and some of Hollywood, Mr. Scott Ostro.
Good morning.
Seated next to Commissioner Ostro at the end of the dais is David Weiskopf, our County Administrator.
Good morning.
On my immediate right is Julia Birch, our recording for today. Sitting at the table to my right is our Communications Director, Ms. Jenna Guzman.
Good morning.
Our video media production team is behind the glass. Please turn your cell phones off or on vibrate. When you come to the presenter's table, please come down the center aisle. And remember, this meeting is being televised, so you need to speak clearly and directly into the microphone for recording purposes. At this time, we have the invocation and pledge by Commissioner Ostro. Please stand.
Father God, we thank you for this opportunity and truly for this privilege to be able to gather together, to be able to make decisions and govern ourselves. What a privilege that is and what a blessing that is. There are so many people around this world that don't have that privilege, and we know that with that privilege and that blessing comes great responsibility. Help us to always listen to one another and to the people that we represent. Help us to not put our own wishes forward or our own ideas forward, but to listen and govern responsibly for the people that we represent. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Join me for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Ostro. Next, I need the approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Have a first and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Next, we have a couple of proclamations. The first one is Giving Tuesday. Please come forward. And then next is the Great American Smokeout.
Well, good morning. Always a privilege to read this proclamation. Whereas Giving Tuesday kicks off the annual St. Mary's County Government Giving Campaign to benefit the United Way and Creating Healthier Communities, CHC, which provides employees the opportunity to pledge and support these causes via payroll deduction in the upcoming year. And whereas Giving Tuesday in St. Mary's County is an opportunity to encourage both our employees and citizens to serve and care for others throughout this holiday season, including during the nationally recognized Day of Giving on the Tuesday after Thanksgiving and other times of the year. And whereas county employees demonstrated their commitment to our community by contributing more than $7,000 last year to the United Way of Southern Maryland and CHC, and employees who pledged to contribute $2 or more per pay period may participate in Blue Jeans Friday. That's a great one right there. Whereas it is fitting and proper on this and every day to recognize the tremendous impact of philanthropy, volunteerism, and service in our community. Now, therefore, we, the Commissioners of St. Mary's County, do hereby proclaim November 18th, 2025 as Giving Tuesday in St. Mary's County and recognize the United Way of Southern Maryland and CHC Creating Healthier Communities for their impact on the health and well-being of St. Mary's County and encourage all residents and SMCG employees to join in giving back to the community in any way that is personally meaningful. This date, November 18th, 2025, signed by all the commissioners of St. Mary's County. And I'll pass the microphone around and let everybody introduce.
Good morning. My name is Susie Fowler. I'm on the board of the United Way of Southern Maryland. I want to thank you very much. County government had very generous employees last year. We appreciate that very much. As you may know, the need is great in St. Mary's County. Particularly now, recently, with events beyond the control of any of us, those who are in need have become even more vulnerable. A statistic that I think we should all be aware of is that last year, 6,052 children in St. Mary's County Public Schools qualified for free lunch. In order to qualify for free lunch, a family of 4 can make no more than $41,100 a year. So 35.6% of all students in St. Mary's County Public Schools met that requirement. So what this is telling us is over a third of the children in our community are food insecure. The United Way does sponsor the Snack Sack program. This year, 430 children, sounds like a big number until you put it into the context of over 6,000. But 430 children identified by their schools are receiving Snack Sack on Fridays. It's about 8 pounds of child-friendly food purchased and packed at the Southern Maryland Food Bank and then delivered to schools and then distributed by the schools to the students to take home on the bus. So this is a signature program of ours to help the need for children who are hungry, because I'm a retired educator, former principal, and I know hungry children cannot learn as their peers who are not food insecure. So we want to do everything we can to help them. So any donations, the website is United Way of Southern Maryland. We have a donate button everywhere. So if you go to the website, we want to make it as easy as possible for you to either donate to one of our member agencies. We have a number of them, like St. Mary's Caring, who are providing food in the community, which is so necessary right now, or designate the Snack Sack program. But there is one other thing that you can do during this holiday season that requires no money, and it is share a smile. So maybe you know that we are all wired. People are wired to return a smile. And like in the grocery store, I love doing this. I just smile at someone I've never met before. I don't know them. They're strangers, and they smile back. So this could make our community better if everyone watching at home here, and so I notice people here in the audience, as I smile at them, they're smiling back at me too. We can help lift up our community in ways that don't require money, and it helps us too. It makes us feel better. So thank you for any donations or smiling that you might be able to provide. We appreciate it.
I think Catherine wants to mention.
Good morning, Commissioners. Oh, thank you. Thank you. My apologies. We just found out we had a baby, so. So excuse me. I know. So all sorts of smiles today. But thank you. Thank you, Commissioners, for the support of this program. This is our annual giving campaign. We use today as an opportunity to launch this. And we also want to remind employees of the volunteer leave that the Commissioners approved during the FY26 budget process. Full and regular part-time employees have up to 8 hours of volunteer leave per year that they can use to support community initiatives. And we have tremendous volunteerism throughout the county already, and we now we extend that opportunity to our employees. So thank you again for all your support. And yes, here's to smiles.
Hi, I'm Cindy Tomlinson, and I am the Wellness Coordinator and Employee Engagement Specialist for St. Mary's County. Just wanted to mention that the pledge forms and the information for partners of United Way and creating healthier communities will be emailed out shortly. So we'll be kicking that off today. And also with the volunteer leave program, we'll send out some more information about that in this week's newsletter, the Friday Fitbit. Sorry.
I'm Julie Birch. I'm on the Wellness Committee.
All right, picture time.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, good morning. I'm here to read the Great American Smokeout Proclamation. And like a lot of people in the county, we have family members who smoked. I smoked. I'm coming up on 24 years smoke-free. And I think it's definitely the best thing you can do for yourself is go ahead and quit smoking and get it done with. It's a terrible, nasty habit. So, whereas the commissioners of St. Mary's County encourage citizens to commit or recommit to healthy smoke-free lives by participating in American Cancer Society's Great American Smokeout event. And whereas about 16 million American adults are currently living with a smoke-related disease, and smoking, along with exposure to secondhand smoke, causes more than 480,000 deaths in the United States each year, making it the single most preventable cause of death in our nation. And whereas while quitting smoking can be difficult, the chances of success increase significantly with access to support, resources, and proven strategies. And whereas quitting smoking is a process, and the American Cancer Society has tools and resources that are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by calling 1-800-227-2345 or visiting cancer.org/smokeout. And whereas anyone in St. Mary's County who wishes to quit tobacco can take advantage of the many resources available through the St. Mary's County Health Department, including the Quit Tobacco page of their website at smchd.org/tobacco and free tobacco cessation classes. Now, therefore, we, the Commissioners of St. Mary's County, do hereby proclaim Thursday, November 18, 2025, Great American Smokeout Day in St. Mary's County, and encourage all citizens to commit or recommit to healthier, smoke-free lives. Signed this date, the County Commissioners.
Sure. Thank you again, Commissioners. The Tobacco-Free or Smoke-Free Campus Initiative is such a proud accomplishment of our Employee Wellness Committee, and really want to highlight their efforts in elevating and keeping in front of employees the importance of wellness and health, so they can bring their best selves to the workplace as well as to the rest of their lives. And just take a minute to remind employees again of our health clinic. That is on Moakley Street. It's a fabulous benefit for employees. And between the health clinic and the health department, you'll have plenty of resources to assist in your tobacco-free journey. So thank you.
I'm Cassie. I am the Tobacco Program Coordinator at the St. Mary's County Health Department. I just want to express my gratitude and thanks to the commissioners again for recognizing the Great American Smokeout as an opportunity to commit or recommit to being tobacco and nicotine product free. Wonderfully, our next class actually starts tomorrow, so there is time to still register. Completely free. Tomorrow is our one-time class for those who are maybe still on the fence about quitting or just trying to get some information information. Again, that is free. It is online and accessible to those who have a phone or a computer. As mentioned, smoking-related illness is still the #1 cause of preventable death in America. So we do have these resources available. The Quit Line is another great resource. You can contact them for one-on-one support, free nicotine replacement therapies. Again, at the health department, there are just so many resources available. You can find that information on our website, smchd.org/tobacco. Resources for adults, youth, educators, friends, family members are great. St. Mary's County Sheriff's Office does so much great work with us to help address that youth, preventing the youth initiation by going out and doing their enforcement retail visits, making sure that our retailers are not selling to anyone under 21. But I want to note that our cessation programs are available to those 18 and older. So while the age of sale is 21, those resources are available for those that are younger. Thank you so much.
Good morning. My name is Allison Wachowski. I'm one of the medical providers at the clinic on Moakley Street, Marathon Health. So you can also come see us if you would like to discuss smoking cessation, because it is one of the leading causes of preventable death in the United States today.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Thomas. Also work at the health department, coordinator of chronic disease, work along with Cassie. Do a lot of really great things to help quit with nicotine products. Thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, and congratulations on your...
Thank you. You want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Again, Cindy Tomlinson, the wellness coordinator and employee engagement specialist, and just wanted to say that I will be sending an email out on the Great American Smokeout Day, which is Thursday, which will compile all of these resources for our employees.
Sounds good.
Okay, where you were actually going to move backwards. We just want to fit Catherine in here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, sorry. Good job, gang. I forgot my job.
Okay, next we have a public hearing, Department of Public Works Transportation, public hearing for Transportation Plan Update 2025. And I think it's being presented by Mr. Donald Mills, the Acting Director, Department of Public Works and Transportation. Morning, Mr. Mills.
Good morning.
Morning.
All right. First, I'd like to thank legal and the administration office for their help on keeping us on track on how to go through this process. This is something that DPW doesn't do every day. Also want to thank Lugum for their assistance on the advertisement package for getting everything out to the community. All right, we got a quick PowerPoint to go over, just really the high level of what's in the document. It's a lot of information, so I wouldn't be able to go through every single piece. This update in 2025 is well, it's an update to the existing transportation plan that was adopted in December of 2006. growth is really the reason why the transportation plan needs to be reviewed and updated. DPW&T, we contracted Brutus and Associates to prepare the update with the coordination between various county departments, boards, and committees. The desired outcome of the update includes mobility, multimodal, reliability, sustainability, cost effectiveness, economic well-being, customer satisfaction, safety, security, environmental awareness, and equity. All right, multimodal transportation system. This section summarizes the transportation system within St. Mary's. Following network elements and their impacts were examined. So the roadway network and classification, buggy network, bicycle and pedestrian facilities, transit facility and services, airport facility, emergency evacuation routes, electric vehicle infrastructure plan. Also, another chapter in the update is anticipated traffic growth and forecasting. Future roadway capacity needs were evaluated using a traffic demand forecasting model. Utilizes a 4-step modeling, and it analyzes factors like population growth, traffic demands, and traffic circulation. Forecasted traffic volumes were used to determine the future level of service. All right. Also included in the update was transportation system management and operation. It's a set of strategies that focus on operational improvements that can maintain and even restore the performance of the existing transportation system before extra capacity is needed. These strategies focus on operational, safety, and technology-based improvements that provide a high benefit to the public at a lower cost than traditional capacity improvements. So that's items like traffic incident management, work zone management, active traffic management, integrated corridor management, and smart traffic signal operation. So review of existing plans and reports. A lot of existing documents were used in preparing this update. So some of those documents, studies, were related to the local and regional scale. So examples of those are the existing transportation plan, 2006, Calvert St. Mary's Metropolitan Planning Organization, that transportation plan, the St. Mary's Comprehensive Plan, the 2040 Maryland Transportation Plan, the Calvert St. Mary's MPO Complete Street Plan, Lexington Park Development District Master Plan, Innovation District Master Plan, and Maryland Strategic Highway Safety Plan. So in the very beginning of starting the project, we got into the public engagement part. So we did outreach, and engagement was coordinated with the stakeholders and the public. We did that via online survey. That's started in March of 22. We did several months of that, and then we got with 3 of our county directors throughout county government for interviews and discuss the existing transportation network and future needs. And we created a project web page so people could go there and look at some of the information that we were pulling together. We also had the Transportation Advisory Committee work on a workshop and put together a series of meetings to go through all the data, tasks, priority, and project classifications. All right, so also included in there in the update is proposed projects and recommendation. This chapter presents the recommended improvements to our transportation system. It includes multimodal projects needed to address the identified safety, congestion, connectivity, and travel mode balance. Project list was developed from several sources, looked at our annual budget, our capital improvement programs, the Calvert St. Mary's Transportation Improvement Program, and the Calvert St. Mary's MPO 2045 Long Range Transportation Plan, and transportation studies and programs. I want to point out that on page 52 in the transportation plan update, there is a typo that I want to make clear. It reads Bay Bridge Road. It's supposed to be Bay Ridge Road. Bridge comes up quite a few times in the document, so it wasn't as easy to catch and replace. And with that, open to questions or comments.
Any questions, Commissioner?
No, at this time, no.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Now, Mr. Weiskopf will now provide the format for today's public hearing.
Thank you, Commissioner President Guy. Here are the guidelines for today's public hearing. All speakers who wish to address the commissioners are asked to please sign up in the lobby. All speakers will be allotted 3 minutes to address the commissioners. At the end of the 3 minutes, our Communications Director, Jenna Guzman, will let you know your time has expired. We ask that you please respect the time limit to give all those who wish to speak an opportunity to be heard. Please note that for privacy reasons, we are no longer asking speakers to state their full address on camera, only the city or town in which you reside. This public forum is being televised live on St. Mary's County Government TV Channel 95 and streamed to our YouTube channel. It is critical that you speak directly into the microphone so that those watching at home can hear you. If you miss any part of this hearing, it will remain available for on-demand viewing on the St. Mary's County Government YouTube channel. We will now begin accepting comments from those who have signed up to speak. And I have no one signed up to speak. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on the proposed transportation plan? Okay. Please note that the public comment period will remain open for 7 days until close of business on November 25th, 2025. Should the public wish to send an email to csmc@stmaryscountymd.gov or U.S. mail to P.O. Box 653, Leonardtown, Maryland 20650. Commissioner President Guy, that concludes the comment period of the public hearing.
Thank you, David. And at this time, we will now close the public hearing. Next, we have the For the main agenda, Department of Public Works Transportation request for public hearing, Broy Hill subdivision, Morgan Road and Preston Court intersection. Mr. Mills, again, Acting Director, Department of Public Works Transportation, presenting.
All right. Commissioners, we are requesting to hold a public hearing about the realignment of the Preston Court Morgan Road intersection. The commissioners approved the realignment of Morgan Road in 2012. And during construction, the developer deviated from the approved alignment and built the intersection as it is today. As a result, the road construction does not match the alignment approved by the commissioners in 2012. The developer is now seeking approval of the new realignment to amend the official road plan so that they conform to the as-built condition. This request does not propose new construction or additional modification to the physical roadway, but rather asks that the commissioners consider whether to formally accept the intersection as it is built currently.
Are you ready? Okay. Originally, this intersection was designed to have 3 stop signs. It's in my district. Developer reached out to me. The people in the neighborhood reached out to me who live on Morgan Road. And they didn't like the idea of they're currently going through, they have no stop signs. They can just drive through. And when this plan came about, and the original developer, I guess, went bankrupt or something happened to the original developer, and this other company picked it up, they came up with a better idea, in my opinion. They left the Morgan Road able to transit like it's always has since it's been there, and they put a stop sign for the people coming out of the new development. That makes perfect sense. So I know they're getting towards the end. Have you inspected the work that's been done? Is it acceptable to the county?
So we have done an inspection over the roadway itself. And there is, I mean, some of these, this is a pretty long road, so it's a relatively short punch list is what we call it. So from the intersection, so that's for the road itself, but
Right.
For the intersection, we analyzed it in 2023 to
Right.
see if this change could be made and what would be the risk with the traffic patterns. So we looked at that, and what you see, so what we have out in the field right now is a yield sign. We felt
Now,
the
is the
need.
yield for the subdivision or a yield for the people coming?
Yield for Morgan Road, going around the right-hand turn.
Who would
So
they yield to? Who would they yield to?
The idea is that they, if they were making the left into the subdivision, they need to yield.
Oh, of course.
Technically, you're making a left.
You're going to yield
We're just,
anyway.
yeah, we're just trying to heighten the awareness of the change in the intersection.
I guess my point is, you don't see any problems with this alignment. It seems like it made more sense.
It seems that and I guess a public hearing would certainly bring this to light. But it seems that the residents there want this intersection configured in this.
I agree, because that's what they've told me, too. I know several people who live beyond it. And when we had that meeting on site, several people stopped there and said, look, if you're going to put a stop sign here, we don't want this. Anyway, so I think the key is the public hearing's a good idea, because what it'll do is give these same people an opportunity to come out and see if they don't like what's there.
I agree.
So, Mr. Mills, obviously safety is the #1 concern. Do we have any record of accidents at this intersection?
Not to my knowledge. I've reached out, but I don't, that data doesn't come to me necessarily, but I've asked, and I suspect that they weren't able to find anything from, in our sheriff's office side.
I think it's also a little concerning if previous Board of Commissioners approved a plan and then a developer chooses to deviate away from that plan without anyone authorizing that. So that's a little concerning there. I don't know if the developer is here and wants to talk to it or anything like that.
Well, so as far as that, I wasn't actually in the meetings to discuss this in the field, but it was discussed and that it did happen at the director at the time in DPW&T.
Okay, so our director approved
What
this?
was on the site, and they were trying to evaluate how maybe it could be revised to be safe and still, so in other words, a compromise, so to speak, that it meets all the things and we're still looking out for the safety of the people. And, people get used to traffic patterns. I don't know if anybody remembers when we opened up the section of FDR that went in front of the animal shelter. And we had a crash there by the hour because people were just used to going the way, yeah. And then they were driving in front of people, and people get used to the patterns. And I think that's another reason why we were looking at, hey, let's at least put the yield sign to raise the awareness that, hey, you could be turning into oncoming traffic if you're going into the.
Well, I was at that meeting with the developer and the county administrator and the deputy county administrator and director of DPW. And again, what caused this change was the people who lived on Morgan Road didn't know about it in 2012 when the first idea, because a lot of time the public isn't aware that something's going to impact their neighborhood until something starts getting built. And then they get more aware. And that's what happened here. And again, I have several friends via the fire department, Hollywood Volunteer Fire Department, who live on that road, and they expressed displeasure with the way it was set up originally, because they had never had stop signs. It's a very it's low traffic count is my point. It's not a very heavily trafficked road.
I travel that quite a bit, believe it or not.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line, Randy, it's, excuse me, Commissioner.
I got confused over the yield sign. Does the yield sign specifically say yield to you're yielding to your left-hand turn?
You're yielding to oncoming traffic.
Oncoming traffic approaching from the right or something, it might say that.
That was confusing to me. I traveled that road before a sign ever was put up there, and I said, what does this mean now?
Yeah, I know, I'm the same way.
I'm really confused over that signage.
Well, I just don't know who I'm yielding to, because I would normally yield to any oncoming traffic.
Right.
If you're making the left, I agree, but.
If you're making a left, I can see you have to yield.
Into the new subdivision. And those people that live back on Morgan Road are used to just making that turn coming out. They
You just go right.
Yeah.
Go right.
Yeah.
So that's
Now, the
thought
people
behind
coming
it.
out of the subdivision have a stop sign.
They do.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Now-
what they did. They had 3 stop signs to start with. When you got up there, you had to stop, look,
Yeah,
go.
you stop, but
People
both
coming
directions
out
on
had to
Morgan Road
stop,
plus the
look,
rest of the
go. People coming out of the subdivision
it
had
was
to
like a
stop,
three-way
look,
stop.
go. It was a 3-way. It just didn't make any sense.
So after the public hearing and all of that, and if the commissioners approve this configuration, eventually the road, Preston Court, will come to the commissioners for approval, for acceptance into the road maintenance system, and we will set that speed on the road and that stop sign.
It'll be
at
our normal
Preston.
process, which we do.
Exactly.
All right. I move to hold a public hearing on the realignment of Preston Court Morgan Road intersection in the Commissioners' meeting room on December 9th, 2025 at 9:30 a.m., and to have the Commissioner President sign any related documents.
Second. I have a first and second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Mills.
Thank you.
Next, we go right into county administrator time. Mr. Weiskopf.
Thank you, Commissioner President Guy. We'll start as we always do with draft agendas. There will be no meeting next week, November 25th, for Thanksgiving. And so the draft agendas are for December 2nd and December 9th. December 2nd, there will be a 8:30 a.m. Citizens Academy reception in the lobby out front, followed by the 9 a.m. Start of the meeting, followed by Citizens Academy recognition ceremony, county administrator time, commissioner time, closed session for real property and personnel, and then adjourn. And then on December 9th, you'll start at your normal time and place, followed by county administrator time, and then a Department of Public Works and Transportation public hearing for the Broyhill subdivision, for the Morgan Road and Preston Road Court intersection at 9:30, followed by commissioner time, adjourn, and have budget work session. And first up on our agenda today is from the Sheriff's Office with a MOU between the Sheriff's Office Corrections Division and Health Management Associates Incorporated. And I see the warden and the sheriff's CFO. Welcome.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, ladies.
Morning.
This MOU currently before you is for a learning collaborative to support local detention centers in Maryland and enhancing behavioral health and related reentry services for justice-involved individuals. The Governor's Office of Crime Prevention and Policy has entered into an agreement with Health Care Access and HMA to provide behavioral health and reentry services, technical assistance in Maryland's local detention centers. The technical assistance will focus on enhancing behavioral health treatment and reentry planning for incarcerated individuals. This opportunity includes on-site individualized coaching, case-based webinars, an in-person learning collaborative, and participatory financial stipends. If you approve this MOU, St. Mary's Corrections Division personnel will participate in this collaborative effort. For that participation, St. Mary's is eligible to receive between 1 and 3 stipends totaling up to $35,000. No significant operational impacts are involved. This MOU is new and was not budgeted, thus your approval is also requested for the related budget amendment to establish the revenue-only budget in the amount of $35,000. The stipend funds may be used to enhance the detention center's behavioral health programming, reentry-related programming, and related staffing expenses. And the warden and I are happy to answer any questions you may have. Otherwise, we request your approval.
What would be different than what you're doing now?
So it is one-on-one coaching. So
Okay.
a few years back, when medication for opioid use disorder went into play, the Governor's Office of Crime Prevention and Policy extended this opportunity to local detention centers. And part of the medicated assisted treatment program is that you have the mental health component as well as the behavioral health and for reentry services. So what they've done is they've teamed with HMA, and they come in and they bring their extensive experience. They look at our operations, because realistically, 80% of our population does have behavioral health identifiers, and it would greatly enhance, to be able to provide the additional services.
So it's enhanced staff development is what it boils
Staff
down to.
development, yes, sir.
Yeah, good.
I move to accept and approve the memorandum of understanding between Health Management Associates Incorporated and St. Mary's County on behalf of the Sheriff's Office Corrections Division for participating in a learning collaborative project OT 2604 and the related budget amendment that establishes the revenue-only budget of $35,000 and authorize the sheriff and commissioner president to execute the related documents.
Second.
I have a first and second. All in favor? Aye. Any displeased? Nope. Ayes have it.
Thank you so much. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next up is from the Sheriff's Office regarding the SFY 2027 State Aid for Police Protection application. Captain Smith joining Ms. Bell.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Before you now, Commissioners, is Part 1 of the FY27 State Aid for Police Protection Fund, also known as SAP. The purpose of the SAP fund is to assist local jurisdictions in defraying the costs associated with maintaining police protection. SAP funding is distributed in accordance with a statutory formula established by the Maryland General Assembly. Part 1 of this State Aid for Police Protection grant application contains the estimated operational and capital expenditures for police protection for FY26. The Governor's Office will use these estimated expenditures to calculate the estimated local aid funding for FY27. At this time, it is estimated SAP grant funding to be received for 26 is $1.3 million, but that final number will be determined after submission of Form 1 in January 2026, as that will reflect the actual FY25 expenditures. $1.3 million will be included in the Sheriff's FY27 budget request as a revenue-only grant until the final amount is known. The budgeted amount will be adjusted if needed when the state provides the awarded amount. It's important to note that corrections and court security expenditures are not allowed to be included in the estimated expenditures per the requirements of the grant. Also, there are some other costs included in the submission which are relevant to police protection but are covered by the county's Department of Finance, Information and Technology, Public Works and Transportation, County Risk Management, and Emergency Services. The responsiveness and continued assistance of these other departments is greatly appreciated. We would also like to thank County Finance, the County Attorney's Office, and the County Administrator's Office, and you commissioners for working with us to turn this around so quickly. Your approval of this application is requested.
Now, tell me, this is $1,287,413 for St. Mary's County?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, that sounds like a lot of money.
This is a recurring grant. We've gotten it for several years. It's
Good.
usually just kind of built into our budget based off the funds that we expect to get. And then we come back once we're awarded the amount, once we know exactly how much we're getting. It really helps us to supplement our recruitment, our retention, salary, different technology that we've been able to put out in the last couple of years to make sure that we've kind of got the newest stuff to provide the best service.
Well, when I see police protection, obviously I'm in favor of that. But I guess my thought is do you have many incidents where police are in danger or attacked? Or, I mean, I'm not trying to be naive. I'm just trying to say, how often does this happen?
I mean, we have tools in place to keep us safe. However, I mean, every day when our officers are on the road, they're put in situations where people assault them, people come at them with weapons. Yeah, every day. Police protection, this grant is for community protection, but yes, to say police are at risk is true and factual. The state aid for police protection is more to make sure that we have the retention, the manpower that we need, and the tools that we need to keep our community safe. And it's just the state's way of assisting us with that.
Well, let's just say as crazy as things seem to be these days, you know, thank God you're there, and God bless these people who go to those things. So, yeah. Go get it, as they say.
Well, I move to approve the grant application for the SFY 2027 State Aid for Police Protection Program from the Governor's Office of Crime Prevention and Policy, and authorize the Commissioner President and Sheriff to execute the related documents and staff to submit electronically.
Second.
I have a first and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any negative? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, from the Department of Information Technology, is to extend nonprofit donation program to provide disposed computer equipment to the St. Mary's County Library for distribution to citizens. IT Director Bob Kelly, joined at the table by Library Director Mr. Blackwell.
Good morning, Commissioners. Commissioners, before you this morning, requesting approval from the Board of County Commissioners to extend our existing nonprofit donation program to provide disposed computer equipment to the St. Mary's County Library, specifically for distribution to citizens. This nonprofit donation program was actually authorized by resolution by the County Commissioners of St. Mary's County in 2015. And within that resolution, it says, whereas in-kind donation to a nonprofit organization or agency of surplus personal property. So what's kind of implied is that we're giving this equipment to nonprofits for the purpose of helping the nonprofit. And specifically, after 10 years plus of having this program, I've noticed that in the last 6 months to a year, the response from the nonprofits, that the need isn't quite as prevalent as it was when we originally started the program. So we have this excess computer equipment, and spoke with Mr. Blackwell, And I think we have a good framework and can, by expanding this program and getting explicit approval from the Board of County Commissioners to send this equipment, provide this equipment to the county libraries, they can distribute it to citizens in our community in need. So that's the request this morning, Mr. Blackwell.
What specifically, is it just like laptops, or what specifically are you doing?
Yeah, initially, our discussions relate specifically to laptops and some desktop computers, but we do have, we have a life cycle replacement program that you fund so that we replace equipment before it breaks, because when equipment breaks, people aren't working and services are not being provided. So that doesn't mean that the equipment isn't operational. It just means that it's 5, 6, in some cases with switches and more network equipment, it could be 10, 15. Unfortunately, we have some stuff that's 20 years old. So,
Functionally obsolete.
yes, so when the vendor no longer supports that equipment, or we start seeing failures, we move to replace it. We would like to replace it before it fails. And so it could be cameras, switches, printers. It's any computer equipment that we have. And so what we have done in the past, and what we will continue to do when nonprofits do not respond to the list, right? We let them know that we have equipment available, and over a period of time, if we get no response, then we actually have an account with govdeals.com, and we can go out and it's an actual auction, which is nationwide. Of course, you get pennies on the dollar, but that money does come into county government if we can't get rid of it. Basically, we try to do everything we can to not throw it into the landfill.
So one of my questions would be specifically, like, printers and switches and all that kind of stuff, that's fine. My only concern would be, or my only question would be, for laptops and things like that that have been used within county government, what steps are taken to ensure that those computers are completely wiped of anything, especially if we're going to be giving them out into the public?
Yeah, that's a great question, Commissioner. And we wipe them clean based using mil-spec standards. So there's nothing that leaves our office until it's certified that it's been erased. I think it's 3 times the entire drive with 1s and 0s, and then we load a basic operating system, which does come with the laptop. So these are this is operational equipment. It's still functional, so we're not given something that's not useful. So, but they are clean. Yes.
Yeah, that would be my big concern. That
mil-spec standards.
I think it's a great program, and just to be sure we're clear, it's going to be run by the library fully, so we don't need county staff distributing, or
that's why the discussions with Director Blackwell.
Yeah, so talk a little about how we'd like to use these machines. They are Windows 11 machines, and as you're aware, the Windows 10 is no longer going to be supported by Microsoft. So we anticipate there might be a demand among citizens who have older machines, and the first place we'd like to be working with them is at the Charlotte Hall Veterans Home. We send IT staff up there to do computer lessons and troubleshoot people's devices, and if there's any veterans who would like a Windows 11 machine, we'll take that up there, help them set it up, and sort of set up the native Microsoft security. We also have computer classes at St. Mary's Caring, and we do outreach there. So another place where citizens might find that they could use a newer machine. We support information literacy, and if you're going to sort of be an information literate consumer of what's going on in the world today, a nice machine would certainly help. The Judy Center Early Learning Hub, there's 2 families there who are starting a workforce training program, and they could both use a laptop, and that will be a small but ongoing demand. We can use some of them ourselves. In our meeting rooms, people will come, they want to do a program, they forget to bring their device, so we'd certainly use them for that. We'd also allow people to check them out and use in the library. And finally, we actually could use a few ourselves for assistant branch managers who are currently using tablets and could sort of have a better work at home situation when they need to be calling into the office remotely if they had a laptop instead. And we would install the Microsoft Office suites and the security and the antivirus on those devices. So looking forward to reaching out into the community and trying to help people stay connected.
So how many are going to be used by the library system and not distributed to citizens? Because that's different
we're
than what
looking
we
at about
talked
6.
Okay.
But most of them are going to be going out to the citizens themselves.
And then you'll be making sure that it's St. Mary's County citizens who are receiving them?
Yes, that's where our stops are, and we'll sort of be checking on that, yeah.
What's the criteria to qualify for one of these?
There really isn't one. You'll recall that recently there was a rather large, was it 1,500 Chromebooks?
45.
5,000.
5,000 Chromebooks were sort of given away. For that, there was sort of a qualifying thing. This, we're more thinking, what would need be? Who would express that need, and we'll talk to them about it. I don't think we will have the list of people who got those so we can check them off if we need to.
Mr. Blackwell, I'm sorry. When I was running for office back in 2014, early on in that 2014 year, people approached me about there was going to be a renovation of the existing library at the old Armory building, and they wanted a new library in Leonardtown. And I was like, look, my library's right here on my phone. You know, I've heard that from many people that we don't need a library. So they said to me, Mike, because I wasn't a commissioner, Mike, go there and stay there for. I went 10, 15 minutes. They had the place was busy. We left. Told them I didn't see much. They said, go back. This is one of the library trustees back then. And she said, make sure you stay at least an hour. And I did. And what I noticed was people using your computers. I became a big fan of a new Leonardtown library after that day. But here's what I want to say to you. So when I went there that day, I saw elderly people on computers. I saw people who are, say, low social economic income people on computers. And what I started to do was walk around because people in groups that I went to were saying, well, they're watching porn, they're doing this and that, and I didn't know. So I said, well, this is an opportunity to see, because every computer was taken at the old library. What I saw was a couple that I know, elderly, probably in their late 70s, 80s. His name was Ed. And I said, Ed, what are you doing here working on this computer? He said, Mike, he said, you know, I can get here, I got to fill out my Social Security forms, I got to fill out my whatever forms he had to fill out, state aid, these types of things. I said, well, you probably have one of these at home. And here's my point. He said, no, I don't, Mike. He said, my kids would probably give me one. But he said, it's going to cost me $50 a month to have, you know, a prescription or subscription.
Internet
whatever.
service, yeah.
Yeah, have service to the house. He said, I don't have the money for that. He said, I like to read newspapers. He said, I would rather spend that money on medications or food. He said, I really don't have the technology that I feel can help me use one of these things. And my point in all this, is understand that the people you give it to, well, I think it's a great idea to do it to Charlotte Vet's home. I think it's a great idea to give it to anybody who can afford one. And the St. Mary's Caring, and I think that would be an excellent idea, because these would be opportunities for people who don't have the money, who don't have the economic status to be able to afford the monthly breeze line bill or whatever bill it is. And that would be something I'd hope that you looked at before you gave your computer to someone. Make sure they have the ability to be able to use it.
My recommendation to those people would be to check out one of the library's Wi-Fi hotspots.
Well, again, that's what they're already doing, you know?
Yeah, right.
But you have your own
Wi-Fi
computer.
hotspot, if they've already got a device, if they don't have a device, then the Wi-Fi hotspot's not going to do them a lot of good. So, again, we think that this will be just a way that especially people who might have an older laptop and need an upgrade or who don't have one at all, can start to get connected. And of course, they can always come to the library and use our Wi-Fi themselves. So,
Well, no, that's a great thing about the
library.
library. You can go there and use it. You're right. Thank you.
So I would point out, Commissioners, that the libraries are supported by the county network and infrastructure for that internet connectivity.
But the people aren't at home. That's my point.
Yep.
When they go home from the library, they don't have an internet connection. But anyway, it's a great idea, and I support it.
It really is an extension of an existing relationship that county government has with the libraries that really, I think, benefits the citizens.
Good.
Well, I move to extend the nonprofit donation program to provide disposed computer equipment to the St. Mary's County Library for distribution to citizens.
Second.
I have a first and second. All in favor? Aye. Any none? Ayes have it.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you very
strong
much.
support of the
Thank you.
library. And I'd like to remind the audience viewing that we are serving as a donation site for food, and on a weekly basis, we're taking that to St. Mary's Caring. We've also got little free pantries at all our locations, which are being very heavily used. So at least through the holidays, if you wish to bring some out, we'll make sure St. Mary's Caring gets it. And the citizens of St. Mary County have been incredibly generous in a difficult time. This is a county that gives. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you both. Next up, from the Department of Recreation and Parks, the Maryland Department of Energy LGEM grant. Director Bivens presenting. Welcome.
Morning, Ms. Bevins.
Morning, Commissioners. Usually my grants are pretty straightforward. This one's a little more complex, so pardon the longer introduction. This is a formula-based grant that we've partnered with DPWT, ARN, that is non-competitive, but there's a guaranteed minimum floor, but it can grow depending on the number of counties that apply for this grant. Now, this grant has been very widely advertised, so we don't expect it to rise very much. We expect it to be at that minimum floor, but we were encouraged to put additional projects into it with priorities so that if projects got deemed ineligible by other counties, there's a very specific types of things you can apply for, or they just chose not to apply, we automatically could get our dollar figure raised. So that's what you have before you today. We have talked to the Energy Administration. Our projects seem right in line with what they were looking for. If funded, the three priorities we identified at the minimum level would be, number one, multiple level 2 energy audits for county facilities that would be conducted by DPWT. This includes libraries, rec centers, government buildings. You can see the full list in there. Number two is LED light upgrades at 5th District Park to the baseball field and softball, number 11, and Dorsey Park multipurpose field, number 5, which those are the next two on our priority list for recreation and parks. And then the third one would be adding roof-mounted solar to the gymnastics center and Wycomico Shores that would help offset our bills and have some other advantages in the future if we wanted to go after a green certification for our golf course or Audubon, like a nature-friendly, that would certainly put us on a right track. So you will see that we added additional projects, including potentially conversion, a more modern way to heat hot water at our bathrooms if money was available, as well as energy projects. We purposely picked those because it gave us some flexibility on the amount of money that is in the grant. LED lights are very expensive. The new hot water type heating units are much more affordable.
Mr. Bivens, I like seeing the cross-department partnership. I'm sure it happens more, but it's not always as spelled out as it is here. So that's a good thing to see. So thank you. And this looks like a great grant. Is this the first year for the grant?
This specific program, yes. They have other programs, but nothing to this size. This was, I think it's 60 million across the state. So we don't do as well on that formula based on population, but our share, hopefully it grows.
Mr. Bivens, with the solar aspect of it, for the roof-mounted solar, is there just going to be just the solar panels, no storage system, no batteries or anything like that?
There's no storage. We can go back to the grid, and there's a special allocation with the Southern Maryland Energy SMECO, as far as no charges and things like that. These won't be replacing the full use of those structures in both cases. The gymnastics center has already had one of these level 2 audits, and it was found to be a very good choice for that. It's got a metal roof that is relatively new. Wicomico Shores roof is nearing the end of its life cycle, so as part of this project, we will be getting a new roof on that building. Our match, I should have mentioned earlier, is 10%, but we hope to offset some of that with rebates related to the energy type of things, and additionally some money that was already on hand to do some energy audits.
How much is a county share?
The most the county share would be the 10% is, I got that right here.
295,000?
295, but we expect that to be much lower depending on which projects are funded.
And with a possible match from SMECO, 62,000.
62,000 on the light products. Of course, some of that, if we don't get to the hot water heaters, that would shrink. It all depends on how much is funded. We kind of took what our best estimate was and put those numbers to the sheet.
So the county would get the benefit of any, what's the terms, incentives to install solar?
Yes. Well, any of the incentives that are out there, we'd have to be pulled out in addition to the grant. I'll put it that way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I noticed in here, when I was reading through it, the minimum award is 1.6 million, but we're asking for 2 million.
They asked, actually, it's a much higher amount. They asked us to layer projects. So the base, for example, would be just putting solar on the roof of Wicomico Shores. If additional money came on, we identified additional solar. So we have the maintenance shop at Wicomico Shores. We have a barn that's in the middle of the course that would be a good addition. So there's layers of that, including LED projects. I think in this grant, we provide them up to $3 million. We'll never see $3 million in funds, but if for some reason we're surprised, they encouraged us to do so. So that's why we gave that priority order.
But the least we will get is 1.6. That's kind of like guaranteed.
Yep, that's a guarantee, flat floor. And there is no worry about some of our projects being consulted. Christy Bishop worked on this. They said they wished every county would call and kind of run through them what they were planning and talk. They were very appreciative of the time we spent with them.
Excellent.
Well, that's good. You know the answer is no if you don't ask.
That is it.
I move to approve the FY 2027 LGEM grant application from the Maryland Energy Administration in the amount of $2,951,769 and authorize the commissioner president to execute any related documents and staff to submit electronically.
Second.
I have a first and second. All in favor? Aye. Any disapproval? Ayes have it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Director. Next up, from the Department of Human Resources regarding holiday leave is Director Catherine Pratson. Welcome.
Good morning again, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I am here to request consideration for additional holiday leave for our employees and presented a chart that describes what the neighboring counties are doing. And this is something that the Commissioners have approved historically.
Now, these holidays fall on the Friday after the Thursday holiday. The Christmas is on Thursday. New Year's Day is on a Thursday.
Yes, sir.
So those typically would be days off. So this would just essentially give a 4-day work week. I mean,
Yep.
4-day
Weekend.
weekend.
Yes, sir. And we collaborated with payroll to ensure that these are the better days for them to process payroll. It's been a tough fall for many of our employees with so many family members not being paid because of the shutdown, and we thought that this might be an appropriate gesture.
Well, I move to approve the resolution providing additional leave to be used on December 26, 2025, and January 2nd, 2026, or as floating holiday leave for employees required to work on these days.
Second.
I have a first and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any disapproval? Ayes have it.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you, Ms.
Commissioners, and the employees really appreciate this. So
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director Pratson. Next up, from County Administrator is request to approve an employment contract. And, sorry, I actually have two, so I'm trying to remember which one was first. The first one
Public Works.
is Public Works. Thank you. Would be for the hiring of a Director of Public Works.
When would the person start?
The person would start December 19th.
Okay.
They're currently employed and are giving some time.
And we're allowed to say the name today?
Yes, sir. It is a county native, John Norris, who spent about 6 years in St. Mary's County in the county attorney's office, is currently the county attorney in Calvert for the last 14, so he's got about 20 years in county government. He started off as an engineer. His undergraduate degree is in civil engineering from ODU, so combined with that experience, his executive leadership experience, we're looking forward to him joining the team.
I think he's going to be a great addition to the team. I move to approve the employment contract for the Director of Public Works and Transportation for St. Mary's County Government and authorize the Commissioner President to sign all related documents.
Second.
I have a first and second. All in favor? Aye. Any disapproval? Ayes have it.
Thank you. So the next one would be for the Director of Economic Development, and that is another local. Her name is Cindy Greb, and for this one, the commissioners might remember it was a very strong pool of applicants. But Ms. Greb has about 40 years of experience in the community and economic development with environmental planning, and is currently working at the St. Mary's College of Maryland as the executive director in the career and professional development at St. Mary's College for the students. So we are, and another alumni of St. Mary's College.
And when would she start?
She would start December 2nd.
Good addition.
Good addition. Yeah.
I move to approve the employment contract for the Director of Economic Development for St. Mary's County Government and authorize the Commissioner President to sign the related documents.
Second discussion. Do we have any more directors coming up for? We have to,
HR.
This is two.
I know. We
HR
have.
January, correct?
We have one that, she's raising her hand, Ms. Catherine Pratson, that I have been unable to convince to stay, but she's
Like
looking.
she got more motivation today.
That's right. She's looking to leave probably in February of next year, but she's not going anywhere, so she's happy to lend a hand
Good.
on a part-time basis.
So only one more is what we have in the pipeline.
Yes, for any sense of immediacy, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I have a first and second. All in favor? Aye. Any disapprovals? Ayes have it.
That is all from me.
Oh, good. Well, in that case, we move right on to Commissioner time. And we'll start with Commissioner Hewitt today.
Oh, goodness, thank you. Well, we didn't meet last week, but hopefully you had time to go to the Veterans Parade. Man, I tell you, it was a long one this year. Seemed like we had almost 200, if not more, people, different groups in the parade. And it's kind of a great thing for St. Mary's County. It was a nippy day in the morning, but it warmed up nicely, and it was a great time. My grandchildren always come. They're in the, God, what grade are you in? I think they're in the 3rd grade now. And they always enjoy marching in the parade. And I saw Commissioner Ostro had his grandchildren. And it's always a great thing, this Veterans Day parade. And God bless our veterans and everything we can do for them. After the Veterans Day parade, I went down to the YMCA that's being built on the county property there in Great Mills on Great Mills Road, next to the Great Mills High School. It was called the signing of the beam, the metal beam, the structural beams that they put. And it's the final one that they're installing, and people get an opportunity to sign it. They had sent out invitation for people to show up and sign, and I went down to sign it. And it was an inspiring moment. I mean, that building is very impressive now, even though it's obviously not finished. But the structure is up. And if you have time and you can go by the pool, I think it's it's important that you go and see it, because it's very impressive just to see the size of a 64,000 square foot building. And people have reached out to me and said, I had a meeting with a delegate, had lunch with a delegate, and said, you know, I'm concerned about that area. And I said to him, you know, we've had that pool there, our county pool, there for 25 years. And there haven't been any incidents there. Now, Great Mills High School is right next to it, and hopefully we'll get a couple hundred kids a day coming over to the Y when it's finished. But I have to say, it's very impressive. I'm very proud to have been a champion of that project, and it will be finished the summer of 2026. It'll be a great addition to our county. Also went to the Bay District Volunteer Fire Department's installation of officers and their annual banquet this past weekend. And again, I'm continually amazed at the number of runs these young people do. I mean, elder people, older ones too. But these younger members, the top runner had over 851 calls. So I got him after I shouldn't say I got him. I wanted to talk to him to say, how'd you do it? How do you make 851 calls in a year? He said, well, Commissioner, I want to be honest with you. He said, I didn't actually get on the truck 851 times. He said, but, you know, I'm here at the station a lot. He said, I could say I live here. I'm not saying he does, but he said, you know, I'm on standby. He said, a lot of times there's a lot of people here, and I'm very happy for Bay District to have that many people, a lot of young ones. And he said, when we get a call, you know, you only have so many people can get on a truck, but you need, or equipment, I should say. But he said you need people to be on standby in case whatever they're going to gets to be larger or more involved than they thought, and they need a standby truck. He said, so probably half of those calls I was on standby. And I still said, you know, that's exemplary. I mean, who in the world, someone, when he went up to get his plaque, someone said, this guy's got no life. And I thought to myself, no, he's got a great life. He's doing great stuff that he feels very good about. He feels like he's doing something for his community, and he's a volunteer. It's amazing. I was just so impressed, and I want to thank those people so much and all those young people who were there. And he did tell me he appreciated the stipend he got. He said he used it for something he needed, and he was appreciative of it. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, and I'm so glad it's over with, is this government shutdown. Finally, some people, I hate to use the term woke up, but recognized the devastation or the damage that it was doing to this economy and doing to people's lives. And they came to their senses and made a decision to open the government. That's good. But the offshoot of that was the outpouring of food that came from different groups and just individuals across the county was exceptional. I'm involved with the Elks Lodge down here in California, and we were a collection point, and so many people brought food in. It was, and I saw our land use and growth management department. So much food came from people who donated there. We are very lucky that we have people who are willing to donate to people who need help. And that's what makes this county a great place to live. Thank you.
Thank you. Eric.
Very good. So, first off, I was out of town over the weekend. I wasn't able to attend the Bay District installation of officers and their awards ceremony, but thank you to all of them. It's very exciting, and they're doing great work, so I'm appreciative of them always. We've gotten quite a few emails, and I'm sure all the commissioners have had individual conversations regarding redistricting as it applies to schools, not talking about what the state's doing. It's a difficult process. The school system, the Board of Education, they're going through this redistricting process. And it was pointed out to us from the very beginning that it's an unpleasant process. It's very hard, and there's a lot of understandable frustrations and worries. One comment that I will share is that our schools all provide a great educational opportunities for our students. But their success is determined much more by home life and parental support, family support, caregiver support, and not necessarily the individual school. So whichever school your child ends up at, they're going to get a great education here in St. Mary's County. I have no doubt of that. But it is a difficult process. It is not a decision that the Commissioner Board makes. The Board of Education will be the ones who determine what the final redistricting looks like. Talking about the schools, it has been a phenomenal fall for all of our high schools with their sports programs. They've done incredible stuff. I want to give a special shout out to my alma mater, Leonardtown High School. The Leonardtown High School field hockey team and the Leonardtown High School boys soccer team both won state championships in 4A. It's incredible, wonderful seasons. Congratulations. And then another huge congratulation goes to our very own Commissioner President Guy. So coming up in December, we have our next MACO conference, our winter conference. It's always the more serious one where the real work gets done, a lot of really great information sessions, but they also pass out they hand out and announce the Marilyn J. Praisner Public Service Award. And this year, Commissioner President Guy is the recipient of that award. It's very exciting for him and for St. Mary's County for him to be acknowledged for that. So congratulations, Randy.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Yep. And that's all for me. Thank you.
Mr. Alderson.
All right. Thank you, sir. Want to speak to what Commissioner Hewitt alluded to. The Veterans Day event was cold and breezy, and I don't know where he went, where it got warmer that afternoon, but indeed did not. I was at Leonardtown, who celebrated 50 years of doing the Veterans Day Parade, and ended up at Helen for their Veterans Day ceremony, and they've been doing it for 40 years. And I would like to think that I did a good enough job to.
You did.
Well, I appreciate that, there, Commissioner Guy, Commissioner President Guy. I was hoping that people would be like, well, you know what, Randy does it a little better, but they were okay for me and sympathetic. I appreciate that. I did end up at Mechanicsville Moose Lodge for a quick Veterans Day lunch with a lot of time constraints on that day. Everybody wants to pack in a bunch of events, and I get it. And so we tried to make as many of them as I could. Made 3 out of 4, and that's good. Piggyback on the cold part, yeah, it's here. It was a little chilly this morning. I broke out my long top coat, my wool top coat, the one my son calls my mafia coat. The only thing I was missing was a red carnation and lapel. But so you start looking around the house, everybody, and try to find any leaks around your doors or windows or anything like that, and set your doors so try to keep the cold out, because energy prices, are not going down this winter. And according to what most weather forecasters, I would use that term loosely, are saying is that it seems to be it's going to be a lot chillier this winter than it was previously. So we'll just have to see. This weekend, I was at an event here in Leonardtown, and I ran into the CEO of Offshore Aviation Group at an event. And we were talking about some of the things that he has going on down in Piney Point. And he said something about he has a severe lack of tradespeople, welders, diesel mechanics especially, and people willing to and have the knowledge to get their hands dirty and actually fix stuff. So I introduced him to Josh Guy, who's on the school board. And they're going to try and set up a pipeline of students going from the tech center to go and intern at OAG, and going from the internship going to a summertime internship program to a apprentice program for ones who are eligible, and possibly for full-time employment, where they can use those trades and not have to worry about driving to Northern Virginia if they want to be a welder, or trying to find a shop to do diesel work. And if they find people who are willing to jump on a ship and go do some maritime operations, and that's a big plus for them. And I really look forward to that cooperation between the school system and all of our employers around here to get a pipeline that tech center was supposed to provide to go ahead and provide it and establish it and make it a strong path to employment for our kids. Government shutdown. It's finally over, and I will finally be getting a paycheck from my, and I'm very excited about that. My wife is very excited about that. Hopefully, the government can sit down and be adults and figure out a way to get past the January 30th shutdown. There's only a partial spending got approved for the next year, and I fall under the legislative branch for my position, and we've been fully funded until September 30th. So I know I don't have to worry about not getting a paycheck again until then. But maybe somebody can call Bill Clinton and Newt Gingrich and get them up on top of the hill there, and we figure out how they did it so many years ago, because they were the last ones who had a balanced budget for this for our country. Locally, we all know about the new $1.5 billion deficit here in our state. You know, we thought the doubling of the registration fees were going to take care of that, but evidently not. And I'm trying to really figure out a way they can solve this, and I don't think that the legislature has that on their minds, because all they want to do, a lot of them want to redistrict, because for some reason having one Republican in the state representing us in Congress is unfair and a threat to democracy. Well, I'd like to have a sit down with one or two of them and explain to them, you know, what they're wanting to do, and threat to democracy are the same thing. We know about the increased fees, and we know what items were pushed on us last year with 90% funding of SDAT and teachers' pension. So I guess we just go ahead and hold our breath during this upcoming budget work session and find out how many more bills we're going to have to pay that the state will not be able to handle. And so we were told that this year might not be too bad. There definitely won't be any, supposedly won't be any tax increases, but I don't know how we're going to figure this one out. And it's going to be up to us here at this board to figure out the best we can do for the county. And I guess the state's going to say, there you go, pay for this too while you're at it. And on that happy note, I'll go ahead and pass it on to Scott Ostro.
All right.
All right, Mr. Ostro, you got it.
All right. Well, I'm going to start with the enjoyable stuff and finish with some of the more serious stuff. Had a very busy, we didn't meet last week, so I've had a very busy couple of weeks. I was very privileged to be able to attend our local Civil Air Patrol's 50th anniversary celebration back on the 5th of this month. And I mean, that's an incredible milestone. And, you know, for folks who don't know what the Civil Air Patrol does, they work with kids. It's a branch of the Air Force. They work with kids and guide them into. You can get some incredible things these kids do. You can get your pilot's license through the Civil Air Patrol. When there's a search and rescue going on anywhere in the county, those kids are involved in it. Any kind of rescue operations that are going on, those kids are there. They do just a tremendous amount in and throughout the community as well, and throughout the country. So I've been privileged to attend many of their events, and it's just an incredible organization. So if you have kids that are in that, I think the minimum age is 10, that 10 to 17, 18-year-old range, I highly encourage you to look into joining our Civil Air Patrol. It's a great outlet for kids. There's so much knowledge that they can learn, and just a wonderful, wonderful group of volunteer people who take care of that. And congratulations on 50 years. Actually, I learned that it's actually been going on a little longer than 50 years, but because it started way back in like the 40s, but then it stopped for a while, and then it picked up again, and it's been going nonstop for 50 years. So they celebrated their 50-year milestone. So big shout out to them. Congratulations for that. On the 6th, I held the last of my public forums for the year. Absolutely phenomenal turnout. Held it at Cedar Lane Senior Care Facility there, and just a phenomenal turnout. I mean, every seat was taken. There were, not exaggerating at all, between 50 and 70 seniors there, and it's always such a learning experience to meet with them and talk with them and hear what they would like to see happen in our county and what they have seen and what they've experienced, because they look at it from a much different point of view than we do. And I think it's very important that we make sure that we're listening to our seniors and that we're meeting their needs. They brought up several things to me that I'm going to be working on to make sure that those needs are met for them. Took a lot of notes, so I once again really, really wonderful opportunity, and it was just great to meet with them and hear what they have to say and learn so much from them, from their point of view and their perspective. Then on the 7th, had the privilege of attending with my son the Marine Corps League birthday celebration at the VFW. What a great evening! So many just great people, and what a great organization the Marine Corps League is, and our local VFW. So that's always a great celebration to attend, and it is open to the public. By the way, anybody can come. Just bring a dish when they have it, and a dish to share, and join in and support our local Marine veterans and our Veterans League, our Marine Corps League. So just a big shout out to them, and happy birthday, Marine Corps. Then on the 11th, the Veterans Day Parade, always a great time. As Commissioner Hewitt stated, I got to finish, my grandkids are a lot younger than Commissioner Hewitt's, but got to finish the parade with 2 of my grandchildren. They ran out and grabbed my hand, and we walked the last block or so of the parade together, and they had a great time, got to wave to the crowds, and it's very exciting for them, and it's always a great day. It was a very cold day. Commissioner Alderson is right. I walked away from that with a bit of a head cold because I was out there with my bald head, but great day, and already looking forward to next year's. Then Bay District Volunteer Fire installation of officers. Yeah, phenomenal group of people. Just absolutely. We are so blessed to have such dedicated people in our community that are there on a volunteer basis. And let me tell you, they come out so often when they arrive on scene. It's the worst day of somebody's life, and it's a very, very difficult job to do. And I am always amazed, as Commissioner Hewitt also said, I mean, more than 851 calls. I mean, these folks volunteer their time, and when you take into account just the amount of calls that they go on, and you add in all the certifications they have to have, all the classroom time they have to have, all of the education they have to have, it is an unbelievable workload. And to do that on a volunteer basis, I cannot thank all of our first responders throughout this county, fire, rescue, everybody. Thank you so much for the caring that you put into this county and for giving your time. And thank you to your families, because they sacrifice also. You're away from your families on holidays, on times where you should be with your family, but you are volunteering and giving back to this community. So thank you all so very, very much. As Commissioner Colvin touched on, school board redistricting, gotten a lot of emails. I have responded to every single one of the emails that I have received, and I do agree with Commissioner Colvin. As a county commissioner, I have toured almost every single school in St. Mary's County. I think I have a couple more to go, like 3 or 4. But all of our schools offer a great education, and all of the educators that I have met with in every school I have toured are dedicated to teaching our youth, and they are very dedicated professionals. They love what they do. So any school that anybody ends up in, there's always pain and anguish when there's anything to do with redistricting, but I do believe that all of our schools offer great education. I'm proud to say that, my oldest granddaughter goes to Town Creek Elementary, and all my kids will be in the public school system here in St. Mary's County. It is a great education, and all of our educators do a phenomenal job, so big shout out to them as well. Cold weather. We are heading into cold weather, and as I always say during the summer, in the hot weather, cold weather's the same thing. Make sure we're checking on our elderly neighbors, those neighbors that might need some extra help. Check in on them. Make sure that, hey, do you need any help making sure that your furnace is lit? Do you have what you need? Is there anything we can do to help seal up some of those windows and doors, or whatever we can do for you, so that that they are okay? If maybe it's really, really cold, we're heading to the store anyway. Can we go to the store for you? Can we pick up some things for you and bring back? I do that with where I live in Town Creek. We're surrounded by a lot of seniors, so I always make sure I touch base with them if I'm going somewhere, if they need any help, and it's usually very much appreciative. And quite often the answer is yes. Could you pick me up something? Or yes, I could use some help with this in the house. So please make sure we're doing that. We're a wonderful giving community here in St. Mary's County anyway, and I'm sure a lot of people do that. But if you're looking for a way to give back, that's an easy way to give back. Just knock on that door of your neighbor and, hey, how can I help you? Always a good thing. Today we have first of our budget work sessions for the 2027 budget. And as Commissioner Alderson stated, we have a $1.5 billion, that's billion with a B, shortfall in Maryland, and we're going to have to be looking very carefully at our budget to make sure that we are maintaining the things that we have, and that we are prepared for anything that the state is going to push further, that the state is going to push down on us, that we are going to need to pick up. So it's going to be, once again, another tough budget season, and but we're going to make sure that we do the best that we can for our citizens here in St. Mary's County, and make sure that we maintain the great amenities that we have, and do everything that we can for our citizenry here in St. Mary's County. And with that, I'm going to pass it on.
Good. Thank you, Commissioners. First, I want to thank everybody in our community, and especially in our own membership within our county government. And not just membership, I mean those who work with us, for some of the food donations. I happened to be over to Land Use Growth Management a few weeks ago, and I saw the huge tables of food donations under the table everywhere else, and the director said she had to match one of the particular divisions she had, whoever got the most. And what I saw, it probably cost her a few bucks out of her paycheck here. I'm sure it did. I don't know how much she finally spent, but that's okay. It's amazing that the people that came forward and brought all this forward, and anybody who does those, I really, it's great that we stood up. The kitchen and staff at St. Mary's Caring have done a great job, and have appreciate everything that they've gotten. It has been a big increase to them to provide boxes of food for people, as well as a lunch every day actually served within their facility. So all that's greatly appreciated. I also want to put a shout out to our Lions Club, Leonardtown Lions Club. We call it Christmas Caring. And we usually get about 70, 75 names of children in the community. And our membership stood up rather well and took about 40 of these names to buy gifts for these kids. And usually we buy multiple things. My wife and I took 3 of these tags for kids, and we'll buy them toys and clothing. And we'd rest of them hung up on a Christmas tree, and we're gone within a couple of weeks. People really took all these cards and will provide. And on the 13th of December, we distribute them. And believe me, these are families that are really in need. And it's humbling for me to go out that one day and distribute these, and or see what they don't have under the Christmas tree. Sometimes nothing, and we provide that. So thank you all, everybody who provides all this in our county. We do have the resources to do that, and I thank you for going out and doing it. And I also want to tell especially the elderly, but for those who don't get this magazine, it's called New Beginnings, that our Aging and Human Services put out. I think it's every other month, but it's a listing of all the things they provide. I mean everything, not just our senior centers, but help in Medicare application, etc. Whatever you need, they have people there that have resources to help you out. And I would say, if you're not getting one of these, check with them at any of the senior centers to get your name on the list, so you can get one of these little pamphlets as they come out every other month. and use the facilities we have there. I haven't used them lately here, but I used to use the, they had a men's strength and exercise class every Tuesday and Thursday I used to go to. Now I think it's every Monday. I haven't been back lately. I should go back. But anyway, they have tremendous services for all of us, and we do have a big aging population here, so use these resources as much as possible. And I have to say, I'll shout out to, I've gotten a lot of emails like the other commissioners concerning this redistricting. My son graduated from Chaptacon High School. He's now 39 years old, very successful in life. He now runs a laboratory down in Wilmington, North Carolina, for a cancer treatment center. He mixes the chemochemicals for patients, a very critical job. And but he enjoys it. That's just something he does, and several other people work with him, and he's very happy with his life. He's married, got a couple kids, everything looking fine. So Chaptacon High School is a good school, and so don't be critical about where your son or daughter may be going next year. But this is something we have to do with. If some schools become overcrowded, it's not feasible to build another school within that same area, especially when we got seats at other schools that they can go to. So this is critical, but you have to generate your energy towards the school board and the superintendent where you should be pushing if you feel that you've been in the wrong area. But I'm sure they're doing everything they can to satisfy everybody, but it's impossible to do that to everybody. But we do the best we can. And myself, I appreciate the county and some of the staff that's I got submitted to this public service award. This is something that goes out to all the jurisdictions in the state of Maryland, 23 counties in the city of Baltimore, and I'm proud to say that public service is not for everybody, but I feel very rewarding that for the last 11 years I've been the president of St. Mary's County, and that we have, and as boards, this is my third commissioner board, have provided for the people of St. Mary's County. And that's what I really enjoy, is dealing at the county level, because I see my constituents at church, in the supermarket, at the gas station. Sometimes I get a pat on the back. A lot of times it's criticism. My road's not been taken care of. But all that is great to be able to say, I'll look into that, John. I'll take care of that. And to be able to call up my various directors out there and get that done, and especially the county administrator, I usually go to him first. And we have a great county work group from the administrators and all their division people. They do a good job. And that's one of the successes that I think I might be taking some credit for it, but the thing of it is, it takes that whole group to make things work. And I appreciate everybody out there in St. Mary's County government for the good job they have done and continue to do. Next, before we close this meeting here, we have to go into a closed session, but we also have a budget work session, our beginning of the process. This is probably the number one thing that we do as commissioners is do a budget, and we have to balance our budget. We're not like the federal government or even the state. We have to come with a balanced budget by the end of June. Somehow, we worked this out, and our CFO does a heck of a job. She's doing a tremendous job, and it's a lot of hard work that goes into this to convince these 5 individuals sitting up here that they've got to sign this budget. This is it. And we have to make decisions, and sometimes some people don't like it because we push back on some of our CIP projects because we just can't put them in this year or next year. And but it's a process we must go through, and we have discussions all through it, and I respect all that. And we finally have to come to an agreeable budget at the end of this session. So that being said, I need a motion to move into closed session.
I move to enter into closed session to discuss personnel, real property, and legal advice.
Second.
I have a first and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it.